Okay, it is 2 o'clock. Welcome to our second session of this year's IDTX Online with the wonderful Polly Watt, who's going to be walking us through some, I think, quite a hands-on session by the sounds of it, which is fantastic. Just to draw to your attention, there is a pinned link in the chat. Polly will tell you what that's all about, but you are going to need it to follow along in this session. So get that loaded up. But without further ado, I'm going to shut up and get out of the way and hand over to the person you're here to speak about. Polly, the stage is yours.
Thanks, Tom. Can everyone see the link? Okay, so you will need that. The link is a page of prompts and links from which are stored on Notion, which you will have access to forever, I think. Forever, as far as I can see, forever. And basically, because this is a workshop that's quite quick, you will probably want to have those notes and those prompts so that you can go and do it in your own time. I'm going to try and look at 3 tools today, and it'll be pretty quick. So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully it might work, it might not. Yes, I think that did work. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Polly Watt. I'm a fractional chief L&D strategist, and I'm one of the directors at the Learning Network. Historically, I started out in higher education, then went into LMS administration, instructional design, and then learning strategy. So along the way, I've designed training for Microsoft, Google, Salesforce, Schneider Electric, Ernst & Young, and quite a few others. And I've upskilled over 100,000 people across 120 countries and in 14 languages. So you've got the prompts that you should be able to see, and hopefully that will help today. And all being well. So we're going to be using voice bots for assessments today. So this is the agenda. So we're going to look at the purpose of assessments, why I think voice bots are a pretty good solution. I'm going to demo.
Polly, we're not seeing screen share.
I'm not screen sharing?
No, that's not showing at the minute.
Well, that was really spectacular. Excuse me. One of my finer moments.
Thank you for the message in chat. Really appreciate it.
Window, share, then that.
We're now
Did that work?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, could go backwards slightly. So, hello, voice bots and the agenda. So those are the 3 tools. So 11 Labs, Retail AI, and Dialogue AI that I'm going to show you very briefly. There's quite a good chance that I won't get to show you retail, but the notes are very complete on the Notion page, and that should help you. Then sort of key takeaways and next steps. So I think when we think of assessments, often we think about the information that maybe we get from our LMSs, and they tend to be participation metrics rather than performance metrics. And participation metrics are of very limited use, I think, and performance metrics are definitely preferable. So when we look at performance metrics, or participation metrics, sorry, so we've got attendance rates, completion rates, and engagement data. So, and they're nice to have, but they don't really tell you anything about learning transfer and whether people are actually able to use the skills they learn on the job. So performance metrics are about what people can do in their workplace and whether they are competent to do the job, basically. And the idea is to be able to measure how people are doing pre your training and post your training, so that you can show that they have improved thanks to your training, basically. The other performance metric would be behavior change. So people behaving badly in meetings, 360-degree feedback. Are they now behaving better in meetings because they've had some kind of feedback and hopefully some kind of training to behave better? And then business outcomes, so better sales, so can your salespeople sell better? Can they handle objections better? That kind of thing would be a business outcome. So it would be a KPI. Then we can talk about why we should use voice bots for assessments. So The thing about voice bots is they're scalable and the assessments are pretty consistent, but they are very personal. So you can have real-time conversational practice and you can have better insights into whether the learner's capable of using the knowledge from your training and applying it in the workplace. So with real-time conversational practice, it's quite different. When someone asks you a question, and they ask you about a theory or something you learnt, you have to think on your feet and you have to be able to talk about why you can use that concept in your work, what that concept means to you, what you've understood by that concept. So as you can see, that's quite a lot to do. And if you don't really know the content from the training, if you don't really understand it, it's very difficult to then talk about it. So that is one of the ways why voice bots make quite a good kind of midpoint between theoretical and practical. So these are the 3 tools. And you should see on the Notion page that there's a section for each one with a drop-down menu. So the first one we're going to look at is 11 Labs, and they are pretty well known for their text-to-speech and conversational AI. So we're going to look at customizable agents, and they're good for knowledge assessment. So now I'm going to just quit this, hopefully, and I'm going to take you into the, let's do that like that. Stop presenting. And I'm going to share, hopefully this is going to work. Window. Tell me if the size looks okay for you. Is that okay, everybody? Yeah, okay, marvelous. Okay, so this is 11 Labs. And in 11 Labs, you have I think most of you will probably know about 11 Labs. It's been going for quite a long time, and they've done other things in the past which have been very useful for anyone in an instructional design. And to log in, you just click on the login button in the top right. And I would personally sign in with Google just because it's super quick. Okay. And then you have a bunch of drop-down menus that you need to decide how you did them. I would say, how did you hear about us? A friend, and education seems like a good choice, and I'm an other. Okay, so here I have given you a prompt to, oh no, I'm a bit ahead of myself here. So here on the left-hand menu, you have some choices, and you're going to go for conversational AI. And then you're going to go for agents. And then you're going to click on support agent, which is already chosen, and create this AI agent. Which shouldn't take quite so long. You may well be ahead of me now. But you can see the different things they have here. Okay, this is not very encouraging. Okay, I might have to do it on a different screen and do it here. I'll share a different browser instead. Okay. So This should take you in to, we were looking at agents and support agents, and then create this agent. That's better. And you have some choices here about what you would like to choose. So for example, you might want to choose a different language if that was your choice. You could choose a different voice if you wanted someone else. I've just gone for Eric because that's who's easiest. And then you want to put in your first message, and you should see from the links and prompts that are in Notion that you should choose a first message which looks like this, which was, "Hi Eric, hi, I'm Eric. What book or film would you like to discuss today?" And then you are going to put into the system prompt the second prompt, which is a very long one and is kind of a green color. "You are an assessment agent named Eric. You are friendly and enthusiastic," and etc., etc. So that's quite a long prompt, and you put that in to the second case. So that's the system prompt. So you've chosen a language, a voice if you want to. Hi, you've put in the first message, which is, "Hi, I'm Eric." You've put in the second message, which is the system prompt, and you've clicked save. And then at the top of this screen, you have test AI agent. And what you should do, and I'm going to stop sharing, or just make sure your sound's turned off, but now you should try calling the AI agent. "Hi, I'd like to talk about Time to Think by Nancy Klein." "I really like the way she held time for people without interrupting and without asking questions." Okay, so I'm stopping there. But basically, it's a way of discussing concepts. Would you like a few minutes to try it? Okay. If you have any questions, put them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them.
So I think we got a few requests there to maybe be able to hear the AI bot.
If anyone can tell me how to do that, I'm very happy to do that.
When you go into your sharing settings, there's a little toggle at the bottom usually for including audio when you go to share the screen. So you might have to stop the screen share and then restart it and toggle the little button for audio.
Okay, so if I go into screen share, I've also got also share tab audio.
Yeah, that's the one.
Which was already selected, in fact.
So there might be a protection on their website to prevent that happening.
Which would be entirely reasonable. But if you try this out at home, if you haven't had time to do it as I'm talking, which would not surprise me, then I would definitely recommend the way I did it. It's very, very simple to set up. And they just start talking to you. You need to remember to hang up you only have 15 minutes of conversation with 11 labs, whereas with the other tool, Retail AI, you have a full hour of conversation that you can play around with. So it very much depends on which one you choose to use. But it's kind of fun. It's really interesting how responsive they are and how much they already know about the subject without you training them. Okay. These can be embedded. You'd need, if you wanted to use these professionally, if you wanted to use these in your courses, you would need to contact 11 Labs, but they are absolutely ready to be used now. And there are companies, so I'm going to, so retail AI is basically used by a lot of sales agents. So what they have is these bots are actually kind of answering the phone and setting up the sales or setting up various processes that can be done totally by phone. And so they are ready to use in a professional setting. But the way I'm using them for assessments is slightly different than the way a lot of them are being used for sales. So I would recommend 11 Labs in that way, that 11 Labs is very much familiar with education and learning and would probably be a better choice for that. Retail is fun because you get a lot of time to mess about with it. I will say that their customer service is not the best I've ever had. So in terms of a tool to play with, they're great, but in terms of maybe using that permanently, maybe not. Okay, then when you're ready, can I have some thumbs up somewhere? And I will move on with the other one. Oh, that's quite a lot of thumbs up. Thank you, peeps. So the second tool I'm going to show you that we have time to look at is Dialogue AI. And I'm going to share that screen with you. Okay, so the link, I'm going to put it in the chat in case anyone isn't following along. And this I'm going to leave you to do yourselves, more or less. So the idea with Dialogue, so let me share that screen. Entire window, there we go. So this is a company, so it's slightly different. This is a company who are using this really, so it's the same technology, but it's set up for you, okay? So they are using it for several companies already. They're still a kind of scale-up startup. They're not very advanced. And they are doing it for role plays. So they have it for sales agents, but they are running the role plays. So the way they do it is they have a lot of information already about the product, and then you're doing the sales, or you're doing the learning, or you're doing whatever it is, and they're using the voice bots for assessment. So this is a kind of professional setup, but interesting to play around with again. And they have kind of created for me to use with you today, which was nice of them. And so you need to be aware, you need to read all the information here. And when you log into Dialogue, I think you will need to use LinkedIn, which of course may be a limitation if someone doesn't have LinkedIn, but hopefully everybody does here. And so you have, your role is the sales representative, and the person you're talking to is a customer, okay? So you need to have a little bit of thought about what it is you want to say. And I have, in the Notion prompt, I've kind of given you some ideas of what I think you probably need to say so that you can think about it. And you can decide whatever it is you're trying to sell. But you will get feedback at the end, and the feedback is really excellent. I'm very impressed by the way they do their feedback. So if I just go back briefly into the PowerPoint and show you the feedback. Let's do that. Nope, I failed to share it. So they give you a score. I think they're a bit too generous, probably myself, but it is interesting how complete it is. And then you can click on each of these windows and it tells you how you can improve and the mark out of the 6 and the 5 and the 6 and the 7 are marks out of 10. So, and then you can retake it for a better result. But I thought this was a nice way of showing you all what, in a good case, this could look like. So I will stop sharing and I will just let you try out this tool for yourselves, because it's fun. It's not perfect, but it's quite fun to try. Is that okay with everybody? Does anyone have any questions? Thank you, Laura. So, because we've only got 4 minutes left, I'm just going to add in my little thing. So basically, at the very bottom, sorry, Laura, I might be ruining your day here. In the bottom of the 11 labs and the retail prompts from Notion, there is a prompt here, which you can use. So you can download the transcript. In this, I've explained how to do it here. You can download the transcript, and you can use the prompt that I put here. You can stick them both into any ChatGPT or any of the other kind of AI tools and ask it to evaluate the transcript and the knowledge. So I've used the LTEM framework for that, because I think it's not too bad for evaluating knowledge transfer. So that is something you can experiment with a bit more as well. But I think for me, I really enjoyed doing this, and I was surprised by how thinking on your feet is quite a challenge. But once you start practicing, it's quite good. The other way you could use this kind of thing is, for example, if you had to practice a presentation, it could give you feedback on the presentation, it can give you feedback on quite a lot of things. I know the guys at Dialogue have all sorts of ideas for things they're going to do with it, like for language learning and for all sorts of things like presentations, and potentially for education. But I think it's a tool that really is so much better than the current versions we have of multiple choice, which I think are not that brilliant for evaluating, because personally, I think, like many other people, it's very, very easy to cheat. And I know that I would quite happily use ChatGPT to answer multiple choice evaluation at the end of a Coursera course, to be sure that I got my 80% and I passed and I didn't have to worry about it. But I would not necessarily know anything at the end of my Coursera course. So I think that is something to be in its favor. It's very difficult to cheat when you're talking, unless you're very, very good at multitasking. Does anyone have any other questions? I think I have given you all the information you need. I hope I have. If anyone wants to contact me and has any issues or any problems, I'm going to put my email in the chat. And you're very welcome to contact me and ask questions. And if anyone wants to reach out on LinkedIn, that's also not a problem at all. And I'm very happy to connect with anybody. So that makes me sound like, that sounds awful, but I am very happy to connect with people. And here is my LinkedIn. So I hope everyone has learned something, and I hope everyone kind of enjoys playing with them as much as I have. Thank you, everybody.